Hello, everybody, of course, to the semi-final, or at the very least the first semi-final game of the ESPL weekly series. I am, of course, Briefcase. Along with me is Mito.
Oh man, I'm so glad we have our next game. I've been like, you know how that hype after the first game, you just want to watch more, and then suddenly it just feels like this is this really long break.
Of
But
course.
now, thank God, we're in this new game. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I'm pretty excited. We got Gamers League up there, obviously, on the diet, and Denial Esports once again getting into these semifinals. They've been just tearing through these weekly tournaments of ours and doing very nicely over there on the Radiant. And of course, anybody just tuning in, ESPL, it's a weekly event, a weekly tournament, $100 on the prize. Or on the line, I should say, $100 prize pool at the end of it all. And come March, there's going to be a big event, and the top 6 teams with the most league points, you get those, of course, by participating and winning. Going to be able to play against Speed Gaming and Sigma Gaming. So, should be, of course, a pretty big hoot. And I've been calling it a hoot every time. Just love that word. But let's get into the actual draft. This has been incredibly rapid fire right off the bat, I have to say. And already, Gamers League with the Mirana-Bane combo, just a terrifying lane every single time.
Oh yeah. I'm still waiting for Gamers League to pick up the silencer, because according to team captain Dr. Alvin, he's been telling me that hey, he wants to change how people view silencer as a hero, and implementing that hero into the draft would be one of the things I would love to see. But yeah, Denial Esports, they've been so consistent, like making it into the semifinals every single week. Yeah, but I'm really surprised they've opted to ban out the Invoker, seeing that DK loves that hero and he plays it whenever he can. But yeah, it does combo really well with the Bane Elemental as well, like just a sleep, and then that would be the perfect setup for the Sunstrike, as well as the arrow. So yeah, that's a good ban.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Nyx Assassin out here, though, can be a pretty big pain in Bane's side, I have to say. Timbersaw, however, you look at what Gamers League already has with the Mirana and the Bane, and Timbersaw doesn't really seem that strong just against that. I mean, those two. Obviously, he has the burst to take down either of them, but a simple Fiend's Grip, a Sleep, an Arrow can really put a huge damper into Timbersaw early on. And I mean, usually you see the Bane Mirana go as that dual lane, and Timbersaw sent to a lane solo, obviously. So I mean, if Mirana and Bane go up against Timbersaw, I mean, clearly going to be favoring them.
Oh yeah, but Timbersaw, I've seen them run this hero so many times by Denial Esports. Sealand, he's great on this hero, and I've been contemplating it for a little bit, and I know why they banned out Invoker, not just because Gamers League chose to pick up Bane Elemental as well as Mirana, but also because Nyx Assassin is another hero that DK loves to play, and he's got the Dagon for the hero. So yeah, his Nyx it's a pretty fancy Nyx Assassin. On Gamers League, on the other hand, they're displaying the diversity. The draft from the previous game have been completely different, nothing alike. Now their lineup is a little bit. It reminds me of what Empire usually likes to go for, getting those Bane Elementals and the Doom. So yeah, once again, no idea how they're gonna lane, because I don't want to make any laning predictions because I know I'm probably gonna be wrong, judging from last game.
Yeah, since that, I mean, that last game that we saw, just some ridiculous lanes coming out of Gamers League, and really strong ones every single time. They just shut down their opposition so incredibly well, and I mean, Puck couldn't do a single thing. And I mean, so far though, Gamers League with kind of a more standard draft from the looks of it. I mean, I'm not seeing Disruptor, who usually doesn't show up. That Faceless Void obviously has not reared his faceless head at the moment as well, but so, I mean, a little difficult to guess where they're going. You can always send Doom to lane. You can always make them jungle. I mean, everything's up in the air right now.
Ooh, there's that big Naga Siren pickup. Yeah, this hero, ouch. You gotta punish him for picking up Naga Siren. If you don't punish him and he gets that relic and the Radiance around, say, between 13 to 15 minutes. Oh, and there we go. That's the silencer pick we've all been waiting for. That's a great pickup as well. It counters Naga Siren's sleep. If you're far enough from the fight, you've got silencer. As soon as the Naga song ends, you instantly pop the global silence. Then a lot of what Denial Esports can offer will be taken away, as well as in terms of laning, right? Silencer has always been a great counter to Timbersaw. Just using skills like Curse of Silent to completely deplete Timbersaw's mana, or using Last Word to silence up the Timbersaw and pick him off. Yeah, so I'm loving this choice a lot.
Oh yeah, no, me too. And like you were saying, if Silencer just happens to get through a Song of the Siren, even if he does get caught in it, if he doesn't get immediately stunned right out of it, I mean, there's almost nothing you can do to stop him from using that global silence. And then it's almost like the Song of the Siren. What was the point of using it then? It's still that engagement, if anything, will just favor Gamers League then. So, I mean, Silencer, like you're saying, I just kind of want to see how they utilize him, and I do want my opinion of him changed a little bit at the moment. Do you think he's going to be core or just used as a support right now? Obviously, Bane will be there, but
I'm almost certain it will be a support silencer. Coming to think of it, this is a pretty potent trial lane as well. If they do decide to go aggressive and try to shut down the Nyx Assassin, I'll shut down the Naga Siren, but I'm wrong here. So this is going to be a support Nyx Assassin, because I've never seen a support Dragon Knight, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either, really. And I mean, I'm trying to look at each team, see what their strengths and weaknesses are, obviously. And it looks like Denial, with a nice amount of burst coming out of them, especially with that Timbersaw pickup. Gamers League, however, I'm slightly fearful. We've seen this a few times with various different teams, but they don't have a hard and fast initiation at the moment. And whenever you see a Mirana or a Bane, you kind of just pray for maybe a sleep or a lucky arrow, but nothing that's a pretty guaranteed initiation like a puck or a clockwork.
Well, right now, if you look at Denial Esports, they got 3.5 melee heroes. They've got Timbersaw, Nyx Assassin, Nagasar, and Dragon Knight. The only hero who can do range attacks is the Dragon Knight after he hits level 6. So for Gamers League, heroes like Clockwork, that's the initiation you're looking for. And it can lane against the Timbersaw, allowing them to run an aggressive trial lane. Or they can go for, if they dare, something really big like Enigma, and just having the Enigma, like, because your Black Hole literally will catch almost 4 out of 5 heroes, because they're all melee. If they want to do any damage, they have to run up to do the damage. So yeah, they've got plenty of options. But if I was Gamers League, I would go for the Clockwork, run aggressive Charlie, shut down the Naga Siren. Clockwork deals pretty darn good against Timbersaw during the laning phase as well. And just having the Doom go mid up against the Dragon Knight is pretty relatively doable as well.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it looks like Gamers League, they can kind of, their lineup so far, well suited just in general to deal with it. They have 3 ranged against, like you were saying, 3.5 melee, and I mean, if they can just punish this Naga Siren, it seems like Denial won't really have a good way to deal with them as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, Silencer would shut down Timbersaw and Nyx Assassin really nicely, and now a Storm Spirit, and I mean, it's not like one of those lineups where you feel Storm Spirit is never going to get caught out and that he has every chance of getting away. They have the Instare from Naga, which of course doesn't stop his ult, but will lock him in place. Dragon Knight has that stun, Nyx Assassin with a stun of his own, so I mean, Storm Spirit, I'm not sure if he's, I don't want to say the best pickup, but it definitely he doesn't feel as safe as he has in other lineups.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the Storm Spirit pickup, because you've got so many tanky heroes. Timbersaw is going to be tank, Naga Siren eventually will be tank, Dragon Knight, another tank hero, and then you've got something that counters Storm pretty well, like Nyx Assassin with the Mana Burn, with the Spike Carapace. Like, how do you really go in? Sure, what they're trying to do is, as soon as the storm rolls in, they have the silencer pop the global silence, and Doom runs in, dooms up one of the heroes, or like they can silence so that Bane can immediately fiend script someone, and yeah, get the perfect initiation. So they're relying a lot on the silencer to be able to pull off the perfect global silence, and that's a lot of burden and pressure on the player.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But let's get into who is actually playing who. I'll take Gamers League. Would you like to take Denial? Just let me start, my friend.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
You bet. I'll take these folks. We got Maz Cut, and I believe one of the new sets playing this Storm Spirit. RB Dash, maybe Rainbow Dash, not too sure. Gonna be playing the Doom. Kato as the support Bane. Already has a smoke going down. Dr. Albin being the silencer, and it looks like we have Liquid Nova gonna be playing as the Mirana, and go right ahead, my friend Mito.
Yep, on the Radiant side we have Defect playing as a support Rubik, Exiled playing as a support Nyx Assassin, Druid Boy who will be the main carry playing as the Naga Siren in the safe lane. We have DK as a mid solo position Dragon Knight, and finally we have the off lane Timbersaw played by Sealand.
30 seconds to battle.
Oh yeah, and look at this smoke. They're just right down there. Look at this incredible bait from Liquid Nova. And Kato does find the sleep on Nyx Assassin. Hasn't skilled anything, but the arrow flies. And it looks like Exile's going to be giving up the first blood right away. So, I mean, a pretty terrifying little smoke there. And almost lucky that Defect didn't trigger it. He was so incredibly close, but still only one was revealed from that smoke.
Yeah, so that was a very successful opening by Gamers League.
Battle begins.
And I was just kind of wondering, do Cassis have the opportunity to win prizes in game?
I don't think so, my friend.
Aww.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah, 'cause
We'll watch.
Because I'm just looking at all these super awesome sets, and I'm like, man, I wish I could get some of those.
So, I mean, as far as this mid goes, you have a Doom versus a Dragon Knight, so it's more likely than not just going to be a little tit for tat. Looks like the RB Dash, though, playing very passively, doesn't really see where some people are, but up top you actually have the Storm Spirit going against Sei Lan, along with Dr. Elbin as the support silencer. I mean, how do you think that this lane is actually going to fare against Timbersaw? Obviously, Curse of the Silent and Last Word, a huge detriment to Timbersaw, not only in his laning, but his escape as well.
Well, I think if they dedicate the resource, like get the silencer not pull, or something like that, then sure, he can keep the Timbersaw at bay. But at the same time, they need the level 6 on the silencer as well, so it's a bit of a trade-off. I'm a little bit more curious about the bot lane, however. Just having that Bane Elemental in Mirana, they seem to love to run dual offlaners or like dual lanes all over the place, and yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work against the tri-lane from the Now Esports. But after all, it is a tri-lane consisting of what, 2 melee heroes and 1 range.
And I mean, not only that, it seems like this dual lane down here of Liquid Nova and Kato, that's one of those dual lanes that's just kind of difficult to deal with in general, especially if you are a tri-lane. Sure, you can get an ensnare, get a telekinesis, maybe get an impale from all that onto Mirana, but if she leaps away, you probably have a pretty good shot, and if Kato happens to not be disconnected when all that happens, a simple sleep will usually be more than enough to make sure that the Mirana does indeed get away. So, I mean, it's one of those dual lanes that, as a tri-lane, it's just difficult even to get kills as that.
But how is the Bane gonna get away? If
Oh,
he
that's
gets
true.
initiated upon. That's my question right there. If the Bane gets netted, he's learned Nightmare for level 1, right? So he should be able to sleep himself if he's in trouble. But I mean, it's a triple lockdown. You've got the net, you've got the Impale from Nyx Assassin, who has opted not to learn anything as of now, and then you've got Rubik Lift. So if the Bane ever gets caught, he won't be able to get away. Plus, Gamers League, their lineup isn't a lineup that can utilize stacking the Ancients. So running that as a dual off lane, I mean, they won't benefit that much. Especially the Bane. I just have a feeling the Bane is going to get really starved in this lane.
Definitely seems like it, but I mean, now they know that the Nyx Assassin, he's all the way over at the Rune. They might try to make something happen onto Druid Boy, obviously. And as far as his top lane is concerned, with Sei Lan and Mazkud, obviously that reactive arm are going to be doing a lot of good work for them. Mazkud actually getting zoned out pretty heavily by just the simple whirling death there. And I mean, that's got to hurt at the very least. It's got to hurt quite a bit. And DK picking up a regen rune. And, I mean, RB Dash, he's not going to be enjoying that, but still, you can't really ever kill a Doom as a Dragon Knight just solo in the mid there. Regen will obviously give you a little bit of harass, let you get some last hits, but, I mean, RB Dash should still be able to just hold his own, stay in there, and just tank everything up.
And I just want to say, these are some really smart wording from Gamers League. Look at how many sentries Defect has put down to try and de-ward, and he still can't find either ward. And by the way, Gamers League, they're very well aware that there's a rune from the Now Esports down at bottom, because they pinged it out as soon as, I think was, let's see, who placed the rune? It was the Rubik, yeah. As soon as the Rubik placed the ward, right, they pinged it out. So they know there's an Observer ward down at bottom.
Oh yeah, and like you were saying, these sentries out of denial, they just can't happen to find this ward right here. And actually, if you click on this ward, Mito, right there, you see just how insanely close they are to finding it. But it's just out of range. So, I mean, a little bit unfortunate, but some beautiful warding coming out of Gamers League, really denying a lot out of that jungle.
Yeah, basically you've stalled two supports. Look at the Rubik. He has 40 experience. He's nowhere near level 2. And yeah, that on the other hand, look at the support Silencer. He's already level 3. But I'm slightly worried because Sealand's having a pretty good time in offlane, and this is definitely not what you want. When a Timbersaw is level 4 in 4 minutes, you know he's gonna be, once he hits level 6, he's gonna be rotating around and just helping his team.
Oh yeah, now Exiled picking up an Invis rune, so Gamers League of course did see that with this ward, guaranteed. And everybody needs to be a little bit careful. RB Dash playing a little bit
Top Sealand.
a little bit. Oh, Sayline actually finding kill. I'm so sorry. He's looking at the mid. RB Dash though, having to use this Scorched Earth to get away. Nobody actually falling. Exile taking a lot of damage, and sorry to miss that, folks. That second kill seems like Saylan got a little bit dead up there. Mito, were you looking at it? You want to give us a little rundown?
Yes, I was looking at both. I was switching around, but basically the Storm, right, just started trading really hard with Sealand, and Sealand, I don't know if he was aware, but I mean, he should have known that the support's probably coming around. That's why the Storm Spirit was playing so aggressively. And Dr. Albin just immediately cast a last word and forced out the Timber Chain, and after that popped the Curse of the Silent, and then they got the kill.
Alright, yeah, and I mean, now that looking up top with Silencer level 4 matching this off-lane Timber, and Mazkud just has hit level 6, it's starting to feel like Timbersaw no longer guaranteed to be safe up there. If Mazkud just zips in with a Ball Lightning, throws down an Electric Vortex, which he has gotten to level 3, and if Dr. Albin can get there in time to throw down a last word, I mean, Timbersaw is going to be having a really difficult time just to get out of there.
Oh, I'm not sure if the Now Esports, I don't know if they smoked under the Observer ward. But RB Dash, man, he has to know there's a gank at mid. Look at the supports from Gamers League. They've already rotated mid because yeah, they definitely they have to know this one, because when the pull camp is blocked up, right, and then the supports are not on the lane, then it's a sensible conclusion to come to.
Now RB Dash getting initiated on. He's underneath the tower. There is a lot of damage going on him, but he has Scorched Earth going. Can't get a Doom quite off, but now trying to turn the tide. That's going to be at least a mid for a mid, possibly more. Kato does not have his Fiend's Grip yet, but a sleep will put Exile there for a little while. While that's happening, Storm Spirit actually finding a solo kill up top against Saylan. So looks like that magic damage coming out from Overload and Static Remnant going to be enough to polish him off, and Reactive Armor not going to be quite enough to let him live through that.
Wow, and this isn't going to be an Orchid Storm, it's going to be a Bloodstone Storm. Because they felt they have enough silence to shut down those mobile heroes. I mean, sure, they have the global silence as well as Doom, and Fiend's Grip, and Nightmare. There's just so many skills they can use. So yeah, this is gonna be a Bloodstone rush on a Storm. I haven't seen this in a long time as well. It's always been like either Orchid or BKB. My personal preference is BKB. I mean, you can just always zip into a fight anytime you want.
And there it is, Saylan getting initiated on again. Dr. Alvin throwing down that last word. Does get one Timber Chain off just in time to save himself. And with that, trying to make sure that nothing is committed too much. Mirana ult being used just in case. And now Nova might actually be trying to find a defect, but instead does just go for those last hits.
Man, that Crystal Silent almost killed Sealand. Wow. I'm loving the silencer plays coming out from Dr. Alvin. He's already level 6 in 7 minutes, and that's always a great thing for a support to be able to hit the levels you need.
Oh yeah, and I mean, when you compare him to Rubik right now, defect at level 3 at 8 minutes in, I mean, and as a Rubik, that's one of those heroes you really do want him to get his 6. He just becomes so much more potent as soon as that does happen, so I mean, to compare that to the silencer of Dr. Albin, he is having a terrific time, and Albin knows it. He's going back, trying to make sure he has all the mana he needs for that global silence, and with that, they can pretty much gank anybody they want, really.
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why Storm doesn't need.
Now Liquid Nova in a little bit of trouble.
Oh.
There's the ensnare. He needs to leap from this, but there DK is there with the stun as well, and Liquid Nova absolutely melting to this hasted dragon. And there's nothing you could really do there. Defect running in just to see if he could make anything happen as well. Only thing that I think could have saved him is if Dr. Alban got the global. Does indeed use it now on DK, and it doesn't really matter. Just gets to sleep. And just playing a little bit of counterplay, trying to make sure nobody actually falls. But some nice play coming out of Druid Boy with those illusions taking up that sleep.
Dude, I have a feeling Gamers League is just gonna make me fat from eating all my words, man. It looks like Mascot. He's going for Dagon. He's not going for Bloodstone, because Bloodstone is too mainstream. But yeah, it's a great pickup if he does go for the Dagon, because the tanky heroes, I mean Denial, they're all pretty tank, and a Dagon help him burst down heroes. And he doesn't need a BKB that early on either, because you've got the Global Silence to back you up whenever you do choose to initiate.
Very true indeed. And RB Dash, he's actually almost finished off that mech, and I'm going to be looking out for some, at least the start of a push as soon as that does happen. Couple creeps away from it. And as soon as that does happen, I mean, they could probably take almost any fight they want with that Global Silence in their pocket. Also knowing that Rubik and Exiled are both pretty under-leveled comparatively to the supports coming out of Gamers League. Both of them are level 6. Rubik is only level 3 right now. Exiled only level 4, and they finally started to give him a little bit of solo experience in lane. But as soon as that mech is up and they have that Global Silence off a cooldown, it really does seem like they can take whatever fight they want.
Oh yeah. Right now, 10 minutes in, the goal graph, XP graph is definitely in favor of Gamers League.
And Saylan now getting initiated on. There's the ball lightning, and he will fall here. Nothing he can do, Dr. Alban there. And something we haven't even touched on yet is with all these kills going the way of Mazcud and Dr. Alban, he is actually stealing quite a bit of intelligence even this early on. He's already up to +8. He's got 73 as far as an attack. And now Druid Boy actually falling to Kato and Liquid Nova on the bot with just looks like a Fiend's Grip and an arrow being used along with Starfall to guarantee that. So I mean, Gamers League getting a huge amount out of this game so far.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just want to take a look at Nagasaran. Oh, there's a smoke up from Dr. Alban and
Yes,
Kato.
indeedy. And with this Global Silence last word available still, does not quite have enough mana for all of it. Isn't the end of the world though. Always does have a Doom available, but it looks like DK has picked up an Invis. They know it right away, right underneath this ward, and now Mazcud playing pretty defensively actually does just TP all the way back home, and now Kato trying to set something up on Defect. Druid Boy is here as well. Alban now does reveal himself from the smoke, and they do find Druid Boy in the trees, but nothing being made of it, and it doesn't look like they really have enough mana between all of them to initiate Liquid Nova. Barely enough for 2 spells.
Oh yeah, have you seen a couple of days ago when Team WWD they ran the Nagasaran? Did you see how, or like a technique they were using?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, so let me just quickly tell you.
Yeah, but I'm
what
probably
they
gonna have
did
to
was they
interrupt
brought
you. We had an Invis DK, but he's back now, so maybe not so much. But there is a storm now as well. I mean, something's got to be happening here. They do have the vision of it, so they don't have to be too scared. And it looks like Liquid Nova actually trying to bait them out pretty heavily in the mid. However, we just have RB Dash getting the last hits that he wants, and Exiled with a little bit of experience gain now. Almost has hit level 6, and they really do want to give that to him. And just DK rotating out. Looks like Denial realizing that they shouldn't be bought. And now RB Dash getting stunned. Denial gonna be stunning him again with just that. And now we do have a little port in by Mazcud onto DK, but there is finally the Electric Vortex. It looks like he might fall. Arrow flies. Doesn't matter. Doesn't land. Not sure. It wasn't actually because of that, but they do finally get the kill. Little bit of a slow song from Druid Boy. It doesn't look like they have any way to actually make use of it. They throw down a Chakram to delay things a little bit, but I mean, Denial, they need to get out of here.
Oh yeah. I think I'm not too sure, but was the Dagon cancelled by the sleep? Because I just had a lag right there. Didn't quite see.
I didn't see a Dagon getting used. It is on cooldown though.
I saw it being used on the Dragon Knight, but the way I saw it was at the same time as the Nightmare. Maybe that 1 second immunity just canceled the effect of the Dagon. But yeah, WWD, they ran Nagasaran a couple of days ago, and what they did was they bought an exclusive courier for the Nagasaran so he can constantly bottle crow.
Just all day long.
Yeah. Until he goes straight Radiance and then later on gets a Linken's before he gives up on the bottle. But it was effective.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He got those 2 items on average in about 25 minutes.
I mean, that's not bad. Now a big smoke coming out for Denial. They realize that they really do need to start getting a few kills. And if we look at the gold graph, it does indeed tell you that Gamers League up by about 5,000 right now, about the same in an experience. So they really do need to find something. Might be able to get a courier here. Looks like Ceylan trying to track it down, but they can't quite find it. And Kato does get out of there. So, I mean, not the most eventful or fortuitous of smokes being used there.
Yeah, but one of my big concerns is, even though Denial's behind, their lineup, if Drag can definitely come back. And Denial is a team that does like to play multiple core heroes, and they do have a tendency to drag the game on for quite a bit, and they have the skill set to drag the games to the point where all of the core heroes farm up. So yeah, look, if you look at it, you have 2 heroes sitting right behind the Naga Siren, just making sure he gets the farm he needs. So yeah, I don't know if Gamers League are going to be baited into trying to jump the Naga Siren at this point.
And I mean, Druid Boy is getting at least a little bit close to that relic, only about 800 away. That isn't too long of a time to actually be farming for a Naga Siren. Now an arrow does indeed hit Exiled, but he did pop that Vendetta at a beautiful time. Not any Fiend's Grip or Sleep going to be using there, so he is going to get out of there, and doesn't look like they have any detection.
Quite the opposite. On the contrary, as soon as, like, basically the Bane walked up, right?
Dr. Albin caught in a little bit of a sticky situation now, stunned underneath his tower, might be able to get out of this, but it doesn't look like that Moonlight Shadow going to be lasting long enough, but that's going to be a dead Druid Boy at the very least a dead Defect now as well. DK going to fall with that little Dagon shot as well, so I mean 3 for 1, 2, you're pretty much, I want to say almost all your cores except the Timber Saw, but your 2 carries for 1 support. I mean, whew, that is a good trade going the way of Gamers League.
Yeah, Gamers League, the heroes have, like, the heroes they need to initiate have a lot of mobility. The Mirana can always leap. You've got the Bane to set up almost everything you need.
Beautiful arrow coming out of Liquid Nova on the bot lane there. Almost max range onto Ceylan. Catches him out. Does Timber Chain away, but that second Starfall following him the entire distance. Defect now can't quite find any ability with that spell steal. And with that, I mean, they get a kill on Timbersaw bot because of that beautiful arrow. And the vision from this one ward really doing a huge amount of work for them. And they get a tower top.
Yeah. Wow. Everything is just going the way of Gamers League. They're on a roll, man. Since last game, they've been playing so confidently, and yeah, they've really been exerting themselves in every game. But yeah, I just wanted to give Exile the mention, right? Just now, up down at bottom, you're saying Fiend's Grip wasn't used. It was, but he popped the Spike Carapace just on time, and it instantly canceled the Fiend's Grip.
Oh yeah, okay, my bad, but nonetheless, I mean, did have to pop his Vendetta even after all that with the Sleep in the Arrow still available. But yeah, like you're saying, just everything seems to be going the way of Gamers League quite nicely. Dr. Albin is getting a huge amount out of this, or just I should say having a huge impact by being this silencer. He's guaranteed quite a few kills with that last word. He's actually opted to get Curse of the Silent incredibly. He's gotten 4 points into that. Usually you see more points in last word for the silence rather than just the pure damage, but of course, when you are going up against a Timbersaw, if you sap him of all that mana, it's going to do a huge amount of work for you. And with the point booster on him, I hope to see an Ag Silencer. That would be amazing to me.
Oh yeah, Ag Silencer. If they make it to the final round, I'm hoping to see a Tinker as well. The more diverse the heroes, the better. And that seems like that's what Gamers League offers.
Oh yeah, it definitely seems to be the way that they're playing. Druid Boy, however, he has picked up his Relic, and as soon as he does get this Radiance, I mean, it's going to open the map wide open, I feel. He can split push, he can counter push with it, and as long as he micros those things, he can basically farm ungodly fast with it as well. So, because of all that, and the fact that they do have this Naga Siren, and like you said, Denial really does love to have at least a few core heroes, and many of them farming up all at the same time, and pushing games into the late game. Things work really well for them. Now they do have mass TPs coming out from Gamers League there. They do find a DK. Does he actually get in range? Pops his invisibility. They know that he's around here somewhere, but they have found, oh, a slight little TP in the last seconds by Defect there. Do they know that he's still here? He still has invis. They're still chasing him down, but they can't even find him. They just know that he happens to be there, and they're finally putting a sentry down right underneath the tower, thinking he might just be waiting there, trying to be as safe as possible. Big arrow, though, does land on him. They know he's around here somewhere. Still can't find him in Gamers League, though. Playing very nicely. Still just being really ballsy here as well, and they get a tower for it at the very least.
Oh yeah. Just thinking back in terms of drafting, right? I don't know why I didn't think of it during the draft, but I do think of it now, and it's a noteworthy mention that when people pick Naga Siren, right, the two most common bans are Storm Spirit and Doom. So yeah, is Naga Siren gonna be fine after he gets the Radiance? I don't know. We'll find out, because he has the money for it, and he's definitely bought up the recipe, and it's on its way.
So I mean, yeah. I mean, Druid Boy, yeah, could still fall prey to quite a few little things there, but with that Radiance, it's really going to open up, at the very least, his farm. It's going to give him quite a nice little push there into the late game as well, and if he does eventually get a Linken's, he'll have a much better chance of surviving these fights, surviving these team fights, and really providing a lot of good for his team. But, I don't know, it really just depends. I just want to see how it pans out, really. With that Radiance, though, he's going to start split pushing all day long, and as far as I'm concerned, doesn't look like Gamers League has the best the best lineup to deal with some big Naga Siren split pushes.
Yeah, but then if Doom gets a Shadow Blade or Blink Dagger, he can always solo kill the Naga Siren if he finds a real one.
True, but I mean that's a pretty big if, my friend.
Yeah, this game will become harder and harder if Gamers League drag for much longer, and that's one of the downfalls of Gamers League's lineup. It's not a hero that can just brute force their way into a tier 3. Well, they could with the Storm Zip and then Global Silence and have all the follow-ups come in, but
now I'm a little worried for Defect, but then again, they do have DK here to provide a little bit of backup, and they decide to go for it despite all the stuns. There is the Global Silence, slightly too late though, as well as the Mirana ult. Exiled though being caught out. That huge Dagon burst coming out of Mazcut is just ridiculous. Now I actually have Invisible Doom running around as well, and I mean, Gamers League just setting up shop in their opponent's jungle. Nothing too much right now that Denial can do. They do know now that Global Silence is on cooldown, so now is basically the time you want to take a fight, but with Nyx Assassin down, they don't really have the initiation that they so want.
yeah, not only that, Naga Siren, right, if you sense an illusion, if you're seeing what I'm drawing on the map, if you sense illusion behind, right, and take out the creep wave, so you have one illusion, right, dealing with them right here, and then you send one, like the rest behind, and cut off the creep wave completely, then Gamers League won't be able to push because they have no creeps, and the tower region should be enough.
Out Naga Siren ult being used. Everybody actually is grouped up pretty nicely here. They need to try and set something up. They're trying to go for the most beautiful of stuns. They do land it on 2. Mazkud completely caught out. RB Dash finally does get a Doom off on Timber, taking him out of the fight. Exiled though doesn't have too much mana to do anything else. Nice little dust being used to try and get RB Dash, but it doesn't look like it's really going to go. Kato now, just the supports dueling it out. While that's happening, you actually have this Naga Siren chase him down with the Radiance Burn. Is getting very low though. Dr. Alvin trying to turn it around. Will Druid Boy actually fall to this last word? It looks like he will. Liquid Nova does find the kill, however, and with that, the Bane actually did fall there as well. So, I mean, this engagement going quite nicely for Denial there, knowing that Global Silence was down. They really did take the fight when they was best for them.
But you know what's nasty that's coming up?
What's that?
Boots of Travels on Naga Siren already. You have to start dealing with that split push.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Mazkud still finding pickoffs every which way. That little Bloodstone and Dagon, just that huge combo that he can do as far as the burst is concerned, definitely too much for Defect to deal with, and I mean, also for Nyx Assassin, he can't really deal with it at all as well as long as he doesn't get a spike carapace off in time. Mazkud, that's a free kill for him as well.
But then again, if you notice, all the heroes he's picking off are just the supports. And as of now, like, I'm not saying supports are not important, but as of now, right, the core heroes are still getting the items. look at Dragon Knight. He's managed to get his BKB. I mean, he's struggled a bit here and there, but with the BKB complete, with Naga Siren having the Radiance and Boots of Travels, Timbersaw already has a Bloodstone. They're all getting the tank items they need. And sooner or later, Storm Spirit's burst is gonna fall off unless you're like a couple of items ahead. But if you're just on par, right, then you're actually slowly losing grip of the game.
And now it looks like they are trying to take Roche Gamers League. They do have Naga Siren ult always available, sending an illusion just to see and check out what's happening. And with that, I'm not too sure if they're actually going to abandon it. They need to be really careful here, though. Naga Siren ult always available, throwing out an arrow. It doesn't happen to land, however. And it looks like they might just actually give up this Roche, or are they going to time this almost perfectly? They use the Global Silence just to guarantee that the Aegis does get picked up, that they do get the Roche. And now with that, Dr. Albin with some beautiful silences there. I mean, that basically feels just like it neutered the counter Roche of Denial there. They wanted to go in with the Naga Siren ult, couldn't in the last seconds. They're just trying to time it maybe too perfectly, and then that Global Silence just putting the kibosh on that.
Well, I think it's smart from both teams. Sure, Gamers League, you use it, and it's great that you secure the Roche. But now, this Global Silence is down for 100 seconds. 130 seconds, and that means there's a window of opportunity for Denial Esports to find pickoffs and get kills, because you know, hey, the Global Silence is on cooldown. What can you do if we engage on you right now?
And it looks like Exiled, he has found RB Dash, has also found Mazcut, and now looks like this is a little bit of a bait, but of course those are only illusions, and there isn't a follow-up right now coming out of Denial. And I thought Timbersaw might have tried to do something there, but instead does indeed just decide to get out of there and run away. Liquid Nova, though, as far as the Mirana goes, starting to get pretty scary as far as just pure DPS that she can bring out. Has gotten a Maelstrom, going to be helping with the Naga illusions quite a bit, I have to say. And I mean, if these Naga illusions start getting microed really effectively, taking pretty much every single jungle camp, starting to cut off creep waves, it just seems like Druid Boy is on a very nice track to get, I don't want to say 6 slotted, but become the forefront in the gold.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the bottle. He does. Oh, okay. That's where he gets his mana from Exiled. Oh, man, these supports, man, they sacrifice so much to make sure that the carry gets everything he needs. I always feel like the supports are underappreciated in games, and it just feels like, hey, you have to do the warding, you have to make all the rotations happen. But at the end of the day, you don't get as much, like, people don't look at the supports as much as they should, really.
Of course, especially like the early game, pretty much entirely dictated by the supports and their rotations. But I mean, Druid Boy, he's getting up to 2100. I mean, this should be a Linken's coming out, if anything. You don't want to get doomed. You don't want to get Electric Vortexed.
Yeah, it feels like Gamers League, they got off to a really fast start in the game. Silencer got a tons of intelligence, I think it was 6 or 8, but 10 minutes later, it feels like the game hasn't progressed much for them. It feels like, sure, they're still winning, but they weren't as dominant as they were during the laning phase. And you look at Silencer, he's been working on the Aghanim Scepter for quite a while now, and he still hasn't completed the item, but sure. Gotta remember, it is a support silencer.
Oh yeah, support silencer, I mean, almost has an Ags, not too bad really, but I feel like there's just the longer and longer this game goes on, sure you have RB Dash available to be your full-fledged carry, and I mean, he is tanky as all hell, has his Shivas, I think might see an Assault even out of him too, and just go pure armor doom, but I mean, beyond that, yeah, Mirana can do a lot of deeps, not to mention Storm Spirit has some nice bursts coming out of him. But it just feels like as soon as DK and Timbersaw and basically all the cores of Denial continue to get those tanky items, BKB on Dragon Knight, you know, Timbersaw has that Bloodstone. If he gets a Shivas, it's going to be just that much harder to kill him. And Naga Siren, Druid Boy, the longer you wait, just the more utterly farmed he's going to get. It just seems like Denial will take this into the late game and just win it.
Yeah, Gamers League, they need to start de-warding, getting rid of all of the Radiant wards, so now won't know where they are, and it just makes the gang so much easier. But there's still a huge dilemma, because if they buy a gem now, they can still potentially lose a gem, and if you lose a gem, then wow, that's gonna be big. Then all of the dominance they have will be completely gone. Yeah, because you don't ever want to walk in blind. You don't know how many heroes you're TPing into, or like you're running in the jungle with say 2 heroes trying to get a pick off, and then suddenly you run into a full team. Yeah, so it is a pretty big dilemma. And this arrow,
Beautiful
whoa.
arrow on Saylan. Couldn't get out of there in time. Denial Exile, though, running in. Doom on Saylan. They're just trying to burst him down, trying to at least get one pick off. They do indeed. And now Exile getting lassoed to the ground there. And, I mean, with that, it just seems
Sec
like
as well.
Gamers League always taking these smart fights, always trying to be really, really clever and I mean, take it whenever they have global silence, and they're trying really, really hard just to take whatever fights they can that are, you know, very, very strong for them, and they seem to be doing it quite well. So while it does feel like the game has slowed down a little bit for them, they're still playing this pretty damn right.
Radiant's middle tower has been denied.
Yeah, but I love what Denial is doing. They're using the supports and the offlaner to stall. The more time they stall, sure, they've died, but the longer you stall, the more time Naga Siren's gonna farm up, and he's so close to that Manta style. And once he does get the Manta style, then he no longer cares about the global silence if he holds onto it until the global is popped.
Oh yeah, and I mean, one thing I also want to mention, just for how well Gamers League is playing, look at their warding. They have all the vision they could ever need, just trying to make sure that nothing fishy happens in the jungle. They just have every single ward placed, and yeah, their own jungle seems a little sparse. They don't really have the best vision of there, but they're just a team that doesn't really feel like they need it looks like.
Yeah, so Dragon Knight has BKB, Naga Siren has Manta style, Timbersaw is making its ways towards BKB, and once the fight breaks out, global silence popped, you're gonna have 3 heroes that'll be able to instantly get out of the global silence ultimate. Sure, one of them is gonna get doomed. Then I just feel like it doesn't matter who you doom. The other heroes are all gonna be high impact as well in team fights. And I think Gamers League, they're aware of that as well. So they're still desperately looking for opportunities, but it's no longer as easy as it was. And now they need to start dedicating more and more heroes into picking off one of the core from Denial Esports, such as Timbersaw or Dragon Knight or even the Naga Siren.
Oh yeah, Albin has finished off his Aghanim Scepter, however, so what is that? 6 seconds? 6 seconds of silence, not to mention a Curse of the Silent. Not too bad by any means, and looks like they might find Exiled here. Quick Fingers, where are they? Where's that Blink? Actually uses the Spike Carapace instead. They really do need to attack him here. At the very least, that'll do it, and Exiled now. Gonna fall for pretty much nothing. Not using the Blink instead, and now an arrow being thrown by Nova. Can't quite find effect, and just a little bit of a ward going down to see what's happening around this mid lane as well.
Yeah, my problem with Aghanim's Scepter on Silencer now is it's come at a time where it feels it's slightly too late. They are going to pressure... Oh, they're going for the tier 2 instead of going for the tier 3. But that just means more time for the Naga
Mazcud
Siren
actually
to do
getting
what he wants.
silenced. There's... I shouldn't say silence. Stun. Pops the BKB, maybe unnecessarily. The global silence used slightly too late, right after he had been initiated upon. And, I mean... It's like DK is just going to TP back, defend as best he can, and Druid Boy just charging up the bot lane, knowing that he can get some good pot shots on this tower, and that Gamers League, I mean, they're all pretty much mid. Liquid Nova now trying to run in, do what best he can, but still though, some damage on the tier 3 coming out of Druid Boy, and all he needs to do is just boots of travel around the map, continue to farm up. He's almost at 2k gold once again.
Yep, and now you're gonna start having Exile, right? He has level 2 Vendetta. Sure, it won't last the entire duration, but it's still a good portion, and he will be able to start scouting out for his team. And I mean, if you have a split pushing Naga Siren, say Naga Siren goes top, right? Like pushes like this, then Nyx Assassin will be somewhere here. And if Gamers League tries to go for the Naga Siren, they will see the Nyx first. Nyx might die, might not, but either way, the Naga Siren will be safe, completely safe. And yeah, it's one of the combos that's just so hard to deal with. Yeah, I really don't know.
It's just starting to feel like Denial. I mean, if we look at the gold graph, we should check it out. It's just been hovering, and this is pretty telling actually. If we, about 16 minutes in, we had Gamers League up by about, oh, I don't know, 7,000 or so gold, and then beyond that, it's just been going up and down and hovering at, at most around 5,000. And it just seems since about 16 minutes in, yeah, Gamers League still has the edge, they still have the slight advantage, but that everything's just kind of petered out for them a little bit. Denial's kind of started to ramp up as well, so because of that, it just seems like Denial is well geared up to take it. Obviously, a big global silence can turn everything around, but I mean, you can say that about a big Song of the Siren as well.
Yeah, and then once you get those like Diffusal 2 on the Naga Siren, and even the Lincoln Sphere, then how do you deal with Druid Boy? Then the Diffuser Blade, it's gonna wreck the Storm Spirit or like whoever gets caught. Yeah, and Naga Siren, when it gets tank, his illusions are gonna be tank, and then he can tank for his entire team. And when you have one hero that can tank up for the entire team, then what are you gonna do about a Dragon Knight as well as the Timber Saw?
Oh, not only that, I mean,
dilemmas.
when it comes to actually breaching the high ground, Kato now, he needs to TP out of this. Is he going to be found? Not quite in time, does get out of there. So incredibly close, however. But what I was going to say is Gamers League, not really the best lineup to breach the high ground. They don't have any strong pushing heroes, really, when it comes down to it. Obviously, you have Mazcud, who can go in and initiate with that global silence, and they can do that sort of thing, but they don't have anything that really helps to do a lot of damage to that tower. So, I mean, it just seems like it's really difficult for them to actually push in, especially now with Naga Siren ult always there. DK's he's almost got Elder Dragon form level 3, and it just seems like now the longer and longer this game goes, the less pushing and the less strength Gamers League will have overall.
It just felt like perhaps Liquid Nova should have gone for Deso and Assault Koreas instead. Then they can do like, what's it, minus 12 armor on the towers, and that would help chip away the towers eventually. Whereas he's opted for a Maelstrom. Sure, maybe he's thinking about clearing the Naga Siren illusions, but Naga Siren just farms so much faster than the Mirana does, and to the point where Joy Boy already has a Reaver, Maelstrom damage is going to be just so minimal.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's just not going to do as much for you as you would want it to. Does let her actually clear these camps, though, fairly effectively, so that's not too bad, and because of that, she is going to get a BKB, but I mean, as far as a BKB being used in this lineup, it's really not that bad, actually. It pretty much blocks everything except maybe an Ensnare. Now it looks like Exiled, though, trying to make something happen on Liquid Nova. She feels it, though, and it is going to get out of there. Doesn't look like Exiled getting there quite in time. And with that, I mean,
Albin,
they are farming this, I shouldn't say farming, they are killing the Roche. And, oh, yeah, so sorry. Dr. Albin getting caught out by Druid Boy there. Can't really do too much about that. They do know that Roche is getting killed, though.
Yeah, but I mean, they can definitely contest. And now, if, let's see, Naga Siren's already TPing over, so yes, they are ready for this. They will have the song. And Dr. Albin doesn't have to buy back for the global silence.
No, not at all. Now it looks like everything going the way of Denial. Everything going, of course, Ceylan has been doomed. Doesn't really matter, though. You have 5 on 4, it seems. Maybe even 5 on 3 at the moment. Defect does fall. Both of the supports are indeed falling. Mazka doing a huge amount of damage to this Timber, but he does suicide. Oh, it does indeed look like we have drops enabled. Look at that multi-kill going their way. And RB Dash now actually blinking in, still trying to continue this fight. Liquid Nova does do quite a bit of damage, and there's finally that global silence. DK now will fall. Mazcud with just too much damage, and I suppose that is how you kill Naga Siren. You just throw down, you basically just split everybody up, kill all his supports, make sure you can focus him, and once that happens, I mean, job done.
Wow. Gamers League, man, that was the fight they were looking for. That was money. Yeah, that was something they desperately needed. Now they can grab the Aegis, and they can start their push, and because the Naga Siren is going to be down for 42 seconds, but definitely Naga Siren has the money to buy back. But yeah, I mean, that was a great fight for Gamers League. They got all the pickups they needed. They came out way on top, so yeah.
I mean, now it just
Hopefully.
starting to really show just how strong BKBs are against Denial's team, and once they do it, I mean, they don't have a way to really lock down a single hero if he is magic immune. So Mazcud really used that to his advantage. He was just bursting around, flying all over the place, and took down both the supports there. And then, I mean, now you also have Liquid Nova with it. Doom has just finished off his BKB, and it seems like Gamers League, starting to realize just how strong BKB is against Denial's lineup.
There's a couple of item choices that I felt could have been different for Denial. For example, instead of Bloodstone and Timbersaw, a Linken's would have been nice. Say you go BKB and then Linken's. And then Naga, also you can grab a Linken's as well. Sure, there's a lot of single target spells from Gamers League that can take out those single target, but at the same time, they rely on having all those single target spells. Like, you want to be able to Fiend Script someone, you want to be able to Nightmare someone in a team fight, you want to Doom someone, or you want to use the Electro Vortex to get a pick off. And when you have multiple Linken's, right, it takes away a lot of the edge that you have with your single target abilities. Yeah, and just being able to force out a couple of, like, render a couple of skills completely useless for Denial would have been great.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, not a bad point by any means, and this is basically how you want to see Nagasiren getting played. And RB Dash can't even deal with these illusions very well. Not going to be falling to them like so many supports do, but I mean, a big tanked up Doom with actually quite a bit of farm still can't really kill the illusions fast enough to stop them from farming creep waves. So, I mean, there's nothing that they can really do right now, and Druid Boy, if he wants, he can get that heart pretty much whenever he needs it.
Yep.
He's opted to go for a Diffusal instead.
Even more damage, he thinks he's got enough HP. But I mean, after the Roche fight, they now have already tested the waters and realized, hey, in a full 5-on-5, it wasn't even 5-on-5 because Dr. Albin wasn't even there. Yeah, they realized, hey, we still can't take a full-on straight up fight with them. So Druid Boy is going to go back to doing his job, just constantly split pushing, and where the rest of his team is just going to group up and play defensively and make sure nothing goes wrong.
Oh yeah, and I mean, obviously the longer and longer you wait, the stronger and stronger Druid Boy will become, and just, yeah, continuing to split push, and because of that, it actually is quite difficult for Gamers League to take anything. While that's happening now, though, it looks like Ceylan getting caught out, doomed, and taken out completely by this myriad of heroes, and obviously you still do have Aegis on Mazcud there, so they can start to force these issues a little bit, but with Druid Boy constantly pushing, it's really difficult to make that commitment. Do you want to go in and try and get a little bit of damage on the tier 3? Because you know a Nagasiren's just going to pour it in with Song going, and that's going to put a huge disruption in any fight you try to take at the base. Mazcud, though, has found Druid Boy. He does know which one's the real one, but that mana burn doing a huge amount of work, and Mazcud just barely able to get out of there. If he had stayed a little bit longer, pretty much no chance of him living through that one. But yeah, it just seems like Gamers League, despite having this kind of advantage and they have some good team fight, they can't really take any fights in the base of Denial. A simple Nagasiren ult going to be a huge issue there, and I mean, yeah, you have BKBs to weather the storm of that, but I mean, you really don't want to use them for that.
Yeah, and they couldn't push. They couldn't afford to push either because they expended 2 ultimates. They popped the Global Silence as well as the Doom ultimate to shut down the Timbersaw. And yeah, I still feel that Linken's would have been, multiple Linken's on Denial would have been great. Druid Boy was forced to go back to base because he doesn't have any mana, completely used up his entire mana pool. Yeah, I mean, and another thing about Linken's is it gives you time to react when you're in trouble. For example, if the next assassin had Linken's and GL Gamers League saw him, right? Fiend, Shadow, oh sorry man, but the Bane Elemental wouldn't have been able to pop, say, the Nightmare or the Fiend Script, because the moment you try it, the animation gives enough time for the next assassin to blink away. And Linken's in this new patch, you can start using it on your teammates as well. So just having Linken's on, say, Ceylan is great, because whenever Naga's in trouble, he can always just throw over Linken Sphere for the Naga.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if something is, I think, really telling in this game of just how... or I should say, the inability of Gamers League's lineup to really push in, it's that this Aegis is expired twice. It's never actually been used, just because Gamers League, they can't really push into any, they can't push into the tier 3s. Maybe they can get this tier 2, but beyond that, I mean, they just can't really do much with it. Even once they do get the Aegis, yeah, it's good gold, yeah, Storm Spirit can be a little ballsy, but they're not really making much use of it, and they just can't.
Yeah, I mean, look at them pushing bottom tier 2, but at the same time, they're forced to TP back to defend. And once they do go back to
Nazgood now,
Gem.
though, does
Ooh,
go
there
in,
we go.
though, trying to take out a DK. Finally does get the BKB off, and there's that silence. Liquid Nova, though, has he leaped in, does indeed find an Exiled, and with those BKBs, they can just TP out of there pretty willy-nilly. Kato, however, really wanted that Fiend's Grip or Sleep, couldn't find it, and like you're saying, though, it's just really difficult for them to push in. Incredibly long zip coming out of Mazcud there, and they try to make something happen on Ceylan, but of course the BKB stopping the global silence, stopping Mazcud from pretty much doing anything, and that was across almost the entire map. Mazcud with 12 charges on that Bloodstone, just regenning like a madman.
Wow, that global silence was from the Rubik. And what Gamers League doesn't realize was the gem is actually still here after he got the kill.
But I mean, that's okay. Albin's had his own gem for a very long time.
Yep, but I mean, if Denial knows the gem's still there, they can always send the courier all the way across the map. Yep, boom, and then get the gem back. Yeah, but right, if Gamers League really wants to take it all the way into super ultra late game, they can always opt for the Aghanim's Refresher Doom, and then the Refresher on the Silencer, and then Refresher on Bane Elemental. If they ever get there, then they will still have a good shot. I mean, just in a team fight,
they're starting to look
pop
pretty
your mech.
prepared.
Yeah.
Liquid Nova, he's just picked up a Butterfly of all things, and Mazcud just got a Scythe of Vice. So, I mean, with that Sheepstick, it feels like he can pretty much kill, I shouldn't say anybody, but he can definitely get the supports. DK will even be in a bit of trouble if he finds Mazcud alone now.
If the item progression is starting to come once again, yeah, the gold and XP. Wow, just look at the XP difference, man. It's completely whoa. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, and we actually have a smoke. They're trying to rotate around, see if they can't find anybody, but the exact same thing happening for Denial, and it just looks like this this little wraparound from Gamers League not going to pan out too well for them. And when it comes right down to it, I think Denial's probably going to have the better option now. They actually meet in the middle on opposing sides. DK does pop his BKB. Oh, Ceylan using a lot of spells there underneath it, but the BKB of Mazcud now being used as well, and it looks like they're just using that Naga Siren ult just to get out of the way, realizing that things maybe aren't going the best. Arrow does fly, doesn't happen to land on anybody, and looks like Dr. Albin did not use his global silence, so doesn't have to be too worried about that, but Defect with a global silence of his own, and it should be an Aghanim's global silence at that, pretty much at a stalemate as far as I'm concerned. It looks like Liquid actually TP jumps up to the cliff and realizes that's not the best place to be.
Yeah, wow, that was unlucky for Gamers League. A big blunder from Denial, popping 2 BKVs and then getting the Song of Siren going. Realized, hey, we can't fight anymore, backing out. But unlucky for Gamers League, the creep wave was pushed out all the way at tier 2, so they couldn't capitalize on that mistake.
Now
and
looks
Dr.
like
Albin
way too far forward, not too sure. They lose a gem now as well as their global silence, and I mean, it looks like he might have enough for buyback, and he does indeed, so they always do have that available now, trying to see if the Roche is there. Still got about a minute and a half, folks, before that does indeed come up. And Defect, still with his global silence, not for too much longer, though, it looks like. What is that? What's 240 divided by 8?
I'm Asian, but you should never ask me math questions.
So he's got it for, it looks like, had it for about 30 seconds before, now down to probably about 15, so they really need to make something happen if they want to use that global silence. And when it comes right down to it, I mean, he could just pop it for pretty much no reason. It does cost him a lot of mana, however.
Yep, so if Gamers League are gonna drag late, man, I would love. Oh, that's a global silence.
Yeah, and he does indeed. He just pops it because it was about to expire. Just trying to make everybody's mana a little bit lower, but it doesn't look like they actually got Curse of the Silented, so.
No, because Rubik no longer gets Aghanim upgrade.
Oh, he has to have it himself?
Yes.
I see.
But something interesting is, if Rubik has Aghanim Scepter, right, since even in the previous patches, if the opponent has ulti that's upgradable by Aghanim Scepter, but the opponent didn't get it, if Rubik has Aghanim Scepter, he steals a spell, and he will be able to have the Aghanim upgrade. Just like else is interesting. If say Denial was a team with Doom, right, and then Doom was the one that brought up the Radiance, he can pass it on to Naga Siren. Naga Siren, the hero itself, won't have the Radiance burn, but those illusions will.
Oh yeah, that is something that's like a little weird, and now it looks like they're trying to bait something out of Mazcud. He's just gonna be blinking out, but oh, doesn't indeed. Denial though sees it from the high ground, and now Mazcud in a heap of trouble. Where is that ball lightning? Does he get out of here in time? Does indeed, but now trying to capitalize. Looks like Denial getting focus fired by that tower. BKB being used by Liquid Nova now as well, trying to deal with these illusions, but the amount of damage that they are doing is just obscene, not to mention the fact all that mana burn doing quite a bit. Liquid Nova now barely enough mana to leap out of there. Albin might actually fall to this Radiance burn. He does indeed die right before it. Liquid Nova almost melting as well. While that's happening, Kato now is there. Does try and get a Fiend's Grip down. Couldn't quite get it off. Looks like a Doom on him instead, which means that Defect got a Doom there from his buddy, this Doom. And now RB Dash melting as well. Mazcud, though, trying to make a bunch of work happen. Look at this little armored piggy run. And Mazcud trying to chase him down. And with that BKB, going to be guaranteed to get out of there alive.
Wow, I've never seen such a cool piglet. Just for thought though, have you ever thought about getting Abyssal on Storm? Sure, it doesn't sound legit, and it sounds like a bit off, but what else can you cancel a BKV in terms of item choices?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like one of those, it's just one of those items where you think, Storm, so good at initiating, but as soon as they pop a BKB, or if they see him coming and they pop that BKB and happen to be TPing away, there's pretty much nothing that he can really do to deal with it. So in that way, it's just basically meant for that, huh?
Yeah, if you look at the Storm, he already has 40 mana regen.
Now Exile trying his darndest to go in and interrupt this this Roshan, but the amount of burst, one Dagon out, not to mention... Ooh, man, that's just a lot of damage flying his way. And a Butterfly has been picked up by Druid Boy, so his illusion's going to be pretty obscenely tanky. And, I mean, Naga Siren, this is completely 6-slotted if I've ever seen one. But with that Aegis, I mean, do you think Gamers League will be able to actually push in for once with it?
That's what I was just thinking. No. No. No, with the 6-slotted Naga Siren. If they can pick off the Naga Siren, then yes. If Naga Siren doesn't have buyback, yes, definitely yes. But as of now, no. But that means Denial, right? All the burden is on the Naga Siren not to get picked off, to have enough money for buyback. Those are the two keys for them to come back, dragging later and later on.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at this Doom just try to deal with these illusions. He can't even deal with them, and just the 3 illusions alone, taking like a quarter of this tower's HP down. So, I mean, yeah, Gamers League, they can have all the nice spells and burst and items they want, but against a 6-slotted Naga Siren, that just always seems to be one of those fights that no matter how hard you try, unless she plays really badly and gets caught out, you're just not going to win it.
Yeah. Dude, did you see like how Defect plays?
Now looks like
it's amazing.
Saylan once again caught out. Nice global silence though. Nobody having their BKBs used except Saylan there. And DK falls immediately. Arrow flies, doesn't land on anybody. And they do get a DK for their troubles. And with that, they're going to try and keep pushing in. But these illusions, I mean, they get the tower. They have to use a fortification just for the illusions. And now Naga Siren, actually those boots of travel were on cooldown. Has to run in now as well. BKB being used by Dash. Doesn't have a Doom available though to set it up, and now looks like Dash gonna be falling for sure. Can't get out of here. Albin flying into the air, getting thrown down as well, and with that, I mean, Mazcud now TPing away. Looks like Liquid Nova TPing away as well, and I mean, with that, Druid Boy can just go wherever he wants, and as soon as he does show up for a fight, it just completely turns the tide of the battle.
Oh man, and there's no buyback. Druid Boy is gonna go heal up, and he's gonna TP and join his team. And this is such a smart thing to do. This is what I usually do when I'm defending the tier 3. You buy up, like you're really low on HP or mana, right? You buy up Clarity, you buy up Herself to speed up the regen. And now Druid Boy is here, and he's gonna start pushing the tier 3 with his teammates.
That's right, and it looks like we have Dagon 3 coming out of Mazcud, just trying to melt anybody he can, and does indeed. Now with that BKB, he's trying to take out at least both supports. He's having a pretty good shot of it. It looks like Defect will indeed fall, but the BKB finally does Peter out. DK does get a stun. Mazkid, though, just barely able to get out of there. He actually gets 3, but with that, Naga Siren doing an obscene amount of damage, actually kills every other hero that was on Gamers League, and now can Mazkid actually deal with him? Saylan still always there, and Druid Boy actually taking quite a bit of damage. That Dagon doing a bit of work, but Druid Boy just does not seem to care at all. Chakram being used now as well. Mazkid continuing to try and do this, but as soon as those illusions come out, that is a lot of mana to be losing. Kato, though, is here just in time. Saylan melts immediately, and the Fiend's Grip gonna guarantee it. And who has buyback now? It doesn't look... Naga Siren still does. Saylan still does. And Exiled still does. So, I mean, they still have a pretty good defense available to them. But they are getting pushed in up the top with 4 catapults, no less.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that many catapults standing together. And now that's a boost of travel TVing in.
Doesn't matter, though.
Now, wow.
Uses the Vendetta to take it out.
Worth it. Absolutely worth it. Oh, but there's more boots of travels coming.
Oh, dude, Mazkid with his Dagon 5, that's what I want to see. He really does want to take out these supports before they can do anything in these team fights.
Radiant's top tower is
I want to see a Dagon 5 on Nyx Assassin with Spike Carapace turned on.
I mean, now it just looks like Gamers League, they might not try and be going in and taking the tower. They might not be really trying to go in and push. It does look like Mazkid just trying to pot shot down whatever he can. But they're definitely trying to, at the very least, force a buyback out of this Naga Siren and make that go on cooldown. Mazkid, though, trying to take down Saylan. The ensnare, though, getting completely moved around. DK, though, always still here, and that ensnare now does go down. They have forced out the buyback. RB Dash in a heap of trouble will fall now as well. And it looks like they do find a Kato, but the BKB protecting him long enough to get him home.
Wow, how does Defect always manage to steal so many good spells? Sure, there are a lot of good spells he can steal, but he's getting the ones that he really needs. Like Global Silence. I don't know how do you even get close to a Silencer. I mean, Silencer, it just feels like this hero is always in the back of the fight, like the very back. Just the fact that he's able to constantly steal this Global Silence amazes me.
Now Mazkid finds an Exiled with his Invis and takes him out of the fight before there even is one. And with that, actually zips pretty much all the way home. Jeez, couldn't even follow it with the camera. And this is really make or break time for both teams. If Naga Siren happens to drop here in any of these engagements, I mean, his buyback's on cooldown. He's their last line of defense, really. But these illusions just melting this Rax, and that's all they are. Using the Manta, using his mirror image as well. So, I mean... with just images he's taking Rax, this is really difficult for Gamers League to deal with.
This is so smart from Naga. I mean, at this stage they have to play it safe. They have to wait for the Naga Siren's buyback to finish cooldown. Otherwise, I mean, he's like the heart and soul of their lineup. And if he dies, I don't know how the rest of the team will be able to hold up against Gamers League. But yeah, Gamers League, man, they play so well. And it just feels like losing these two Raxes, man, it must be a little depressing at this point. But yeah, they're fighting strong, and they're still going for that push.
Oh, it just seems like you can't really do anything about this Naga Siren and his split push that's going on. Even Mazkid, pretty much the strongest hero right now on Gamers League, definitely the one leading in the net worth. Even he takes, you know, 5, 6, 7 or so seconds of just straight attacking, spamming spells to deal with the illusions alone. He does have 22 charges in Bloodstone, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It seriously ridiculous if you look at the XP graph. At one stage, it was close to 30,000 XP difference. I mean, I don't think... the last time we saw, I mean, we've seen games...
Now the biggest zip in the world, once again, I mean, Mazkid, he's almost going from one end of the map to the other, and just look at the regen coming out. He's got plus 52 mana regen a second. That is just obscene.
Who needs Fountain when you have Bloodstone?
Oh yeah.
With 23 charges.
Right? 23 Bloodstone.
Who needs buyback when you instantly respawn? Yeah, but we're pretty close to an hour-long game, and both teams still have a very good shot at winning. Hoping to see bigger and bigger items come out. Doom, Refresher, Abyssal. How's that? How does that sound? I think that's pretty legit. Abyssal two heroes in the face, and then dooming the third one. Yeah.
What about refresher on Bane, double sleep?
Nah, that's good as well.
Huh?
One of my favorite. Ooh.
Now silence being used,
Oh.
and because of Mazka now, he does get a Saylan, and with that, is just able to TP out of there. Oh my god, he's so far away from his actual TP. And this Naga Siren Ult actually was used. Not the longest of cooldowns on that, so not the end of the world. It's not like a global silence, but I mean, they do have about 100 seconds now where they can push in denial. I have to say, like they got about a 100-second window now with global silence being on cooldown, but still just so difficult for them.
No, it's not worth it. You gotta wait for Druid Boy. He has to have the buyback off cooldown before they should attempt anything. But I mean, he's accumulated 9,000 gold, and I have no idea what he wants to do with it. Is the Radiant still worth having? Absolutely. Just constantly getting those split pushes, keeping all the lanes pushed out, and oh, dude, I called it. I called it. I called it. Look at Storm Spirit. I definitely called this one out. I called this one out.
And then finds an exiled. What did you call it? Oh, there's the Skull Basher. All he needs now is a relic, and that's going to be a really good way to actually continue to get those Bloodstone charges. Finding Defect. Oh my god, he just doesn't have a good day. And Mazkud, the king of this game right now. They've already gotten 2 pickoffs, forced a buyback out of Nyx Assassin to Doom now on DK. If they can only find him with a Fiend's Grip, that's exactly what they want. They finally do get it. Doesn't exactly need it. Mazkud is there just waiting out the BKB. Fiend's Grip was used, however. You do have these illusions just knocking on your door up top, but you still have these people, or I should say, you still have Gamers League just knocking at your front door on the mid lane as well.
Dire's top barracks has fallen.
They're so unlucky. They get so many good pickoffs, but the lanes are always being pushed out. And with the creep wave being so far behind, the tier 3 backdoor regen, they just can't go through it. The only hero that I can think of that can actually go through a tier 3 backdoor regen is Tiny. He is the one and only hero that can surpass the tier 3 regen. Might need the help of a Wisp. I'm not too
Now
sure.
Kato might actually fall to these illusions. He's getting incredibly close. Doesn't look, and he will fall here. Can't quite get away. So those Naga Siren illusions starting to become, I mean, way too much of an issue. And like you're saying, despite how well Gamers League is continuing to play, they're finding pickoffs. They're doing amazingly, really, when it comes right down to it. This late in the game against a 6-slotted Naga, it's still just so difficult for them to make any progress in the grand scheme of things because every lane always seems to be pushed out. Naga Siren has these illusions going around, and with just those illusions, I mean, that Naga Siren can basically take down your Bane, take down your Silencer if need be as well.
He's not the only one who's maxed out. Storm Spirit, he's maxed out as well. But he can look to buy a new BKB. That's his option. Yeah, because BKB is not replaceable by any other item that he can possibly get. It's better than Shiva's.
And Storm Spirit doing what
Yeah,
Storm Spirit
so-
does best. Max range arrow, but of course there isn't going to be a follow-up unless Mazcode feels like zipping across the entire map like he has been. But, I mean, yeah, he's got this Abyssal now as well. Range chance to stun, 10%, not the end of the, or I shouldn't say, like, not that bad, really. But it's really that big 2-second stun guaranteed that you want. And I mean, while he's not going to be using it on Druid Boy, he's going to be using that to find pickoffs on DK, to find a pickoff on Saylan whenever they can. And now it looks like Gamers League, I shouldn't say Gamers League, Denial, knowing that Druid Boy has 13,000 gold in the bank and the ability to buy back, it's off of cooldown, they can start to maybe group up, try and take some fights, maybe make something happen now as well.
I don't know. If I were Druid Boy, I'd sell the Manta, buy a new Manta just for fun. I mean, what are you gonna do with so much money? Probably, actually no, he can buy a new Diffusal Blade when it runs out of charges. And Silencer, he actually, ooh, he's almost has enough money for a Refresher Orb. I think, because my math is horrible. Yeah, but I mean, now you should no longer look at the Naga Siren versus the Storm. You gotta start looking at the other heroes that can make an impact. Because so far, these two heroes have been like keeping the game hanging in a balance. And you need to start looking towards other heroes who can also impact the game.
Looks like Mazcud actually has been stunned up. No BKB being used to do that. Kato gets the Fiend's Grip on the DK, and DK now will fall as well. Lan though, trying to make something happen, but Kato pops the BKB, and now they're just chasing down Lan. But while this is all happening, of course, those Naga illusions doing a huge amount of work, and I mean, only one barracks stands left for Gamers League, and I mean, despite how well they're playing, oh my god, Defect stolen that ball lightning, just getting out of there in time. Obviously, Mazcud can continue to zip around the map, but I mean, now, with these illusions, Dr. Albin pinging like mad, realizing he has no chance of actually taking this out. This will be mega creeps, and unless they can deal with this. RB Dash has gotten here, but it's not going to be enough, and that is, where is it? Not quite mega creeps. One last hit, 20 HP left on that. So
oh, the regen.
Exactly. So it's not the end of the world, and now starting to regen 5 HP a second. That melee rack's actually still with a chance here, and Mazcud and Kato on the bot getting reinforced by Liquid Nova. They might be able to actually push in, take a little bit of a tower if they want. Looks like Mazcud has found Druid Boy, but now getting absolutely melted. Just a bit too much mana being burnt by that Diffusal too, and with that, I mean, he doesn't even buy back, he just teleports to base pretty much. It's a free TP scroll for him to die.
Oh man, the power of the Naga Siren. I mean, Gamers League, they've been finding pickoffs after pickoffs after pickoffs, but as long as they don't kill the Naga Siren, oh, is he going straight for the finish? Oh no, he's going for the kill. But no.
I mean, even with that, there's the Abyssal being used. RB Dash trying his very best to help, but I mean, Druid Boy still living pretty well, but was able to get a nice amount of mega creeps going there. Kato now caught out in the bot. Does have a global silence being used by everybody. Kato, not too sure what he's doing, will be falling here. Liquid Nova probably able to get out of this one alive, popping that Moonlight Shadow. Does anybody still have any vision, any sort of gem going down? They pop a sentry, but it of course won't be enough. Well, and Mazcud now, they realize that they do not have a lineup well suited to deal with these mega creeps, not by any stretch of the imagination, so they need to either find a pick off and win right now, or it's pretty much game over, I'm feeling.
That's 2 gem right here that they could have picked up to chase a storm. But yeah, it's not often you see a Storm Spirit being out-carried by... I mean, not often you see a Naga Siren being out-carried by a Storm Spirit. Wow.
Oh yeah,
wow,
and then Mazcud,
really?
I mean, he just can't live through this damage right now, and with that, I mean, with this... Who does have buyback? Storm Spirit always does have it, but the Bane, he can't deal with the mega creeps all on his lonesome. And with that, I mean, Liquid Nova, he's trying his very best to do whatever he can, but it has just gone too late. And the huge core heroes coming out of Denial, especially the 6-slotted Naga, it just feels like you can't win against that.
I bet the Storm begs to differ. But right now, Gamers League, they need more and more creep clearing abilities. And I guess in a sense, it's good that Liquid Nova has the Mjolnir, and now he has Helm of the Dominator so he can dominate creeps. Help defend a little bit more, a very, very tiny bit. Is he gonna dominate creep? Nope.
I think if anything, that's just to sit there, take all the hits from the Megas, and continue to attack them and not have to go back.
But ultimately, let's discuss, since this is such a long game, and there's so many things we need to look at now, apart from the buybacks. Who do you think will win if every single hero gets 6-slotted?
Well, RB Dash now gets caught out, and that's going to be a dead doom for sure. Looks like we have Storm Spirit going in as well. Kato now, though, he does have a Fiend's Grip on the DK, but Mazcud, he just can't deal with the damage coming out of Druid Boy. RB Dash actually does buy back, TP's right back in there and melts immediately. He does eat the cheese, however, so a little bit of deceptive there. Isn't going to fall quite yet, and oh, Kato so close to getting out of here. We do have a buyback coming out of Storm Spirit. While that's happening, they were able to track down this Doom, so Doom is out of the running. Kato now falls as well. Albin going to be dying here, just guaranteed. Does have a Refresher Orb available, but I mean, he will be falling. He's down for 70 seconds, and with that, that's the GG guaranteed. There's nothing they can do about this.
Yeah, buybacks on cooldown. Wow, that's really, really rough. Storm Spirit though, he still wants to make plays. He's definitely looking for it. I mean, he's played great this game. A lot of players have been playing really good this game. Mirana arrows have been spectacular, but he won't be able to hold the base on his own.
Now Mazcud actually going to get silenced by Defect, and that's exactly what you want. Does pop the BKB, so not the end of the world, but there's nothing you can do against these illusions. DK ports in, there's the arrow flies, does hit DK, doesn't really matter though. All a formality. A 6-slotted Naga just seems to be almost impossible to deal with, but a beautiful game of Dota right there, I have to say.
Oh wow. Honestly, this feels like it's one of those like grand final deserving matches. Man, everyone just plays so well. I mean, I haven't seen a Storm with this many kills in a very long time as well.
Oh yeah,
I'm so
27.
happy.
Whoa. Not doing too bad at all. So of course, after that very long game, everybody, I have been Briefcase along with the lovely Mito, bringing you this ESPL Weekly Series 3, and we should be having the second semifinal coming up in none too long a time. So please feel free to stay tuned. And I believe there's actually betting going up at Dota 2 Lounge, so check that out. Get your rares in, folks.
Oh wow, I'm still thinking about the match. Wow. Nothing to say. Wow. It was going back and forth. It really was. And both teams deserve to win. But thanks for watching, and hopefully next game will be just as exciting, so please stay with us, guys.